ברשות מוריי ורבותיי, לעילוי נשמת
صفحه چند رفت؟
270.
270. We are up to פרק י"ב, לעילוי נשמת שמחה הלוי בן תמרה. Okay, so we are up to David made a mistake with Bathsheba again. Again, we have to say what the Gemara means when it says, right? Kol haomer David chata eno ela to'eh, right? So whoever said David made a sin, he's making a mistake. So what does it mean that Hashem was angry at him? Like all these things, the Navi puts it like a worse sin, right? So the Gemara means David jumped the gun. From the Midrash says from the Sheshet Yemei Bereshit was decided that David should marry Bathsheba, right? But it was not time yet.
ولی I read over here also که بچه‌ها میخواست از پادشاه هم بچه داشته باشه. 3 بار روزی میرفته بالا پشت بون همون میگرفته که این ببینتش.
Okay, that's an.
Am I wrong? Did I read it wrong?
I don't know. Maybe, I never heard that. Okay.
I'm gonna find it.
It's kind of.
چی شد ربای چی گفتش که 3 دفعه رفته بالا پشت بون که
I'm gonna find it right.
Yeah. Okay.
مملو
Here.
There are different midrashim.
ربای بلند بخون من بشنم.
رخ گذاشت بهش میگه که بعد بچه پادشاه یعنی 3 بار روز 3 بار هر
Shaddai Surah Kodesh that she's going to marry David. Okay.
که داوید ملک ببینتش.
So now by the end, what happened? David went with her. He sent Uriah to get killed. Now Bathsheba became pregnant. She had a baby from him. After Uriah died, David brought her to his palace. Okay, now we take this perek and we see what are the consequences of a mistake. Okay. Vaishlach Hashem et Natan el David. That's not Natan, his own son, is Natan. This is the Natan HaNavi. So Hashem sent Natan to David. Vayavo elav vayomer lo. Natan came and told him, this is a famous story of the Keves HaRash. It's called the sheep of a desolate, of the poor person. He's going to give him this mashal, and David doesn't realize he's talking about himself and makes the judgment. And whatever he says happens to himself. Now just listen here. Vayomelo. Nathan comes and tells him, I want you to make a judgment. Here. There are 2 people in one town. Echad Ashir, Echad Rash. One of them is wealthy, the other one is poor. Right? One rich guy, right next door to him, a poor person. Ula Ashir haya son vakar habimod. The rich person had a lot of cattle, a lot of sheep, cows, lots of it. Ula Rash en kol ki im kifsa achat ketana. So the Rash, the poor person, had only one kifsa, one sheep, small little sheep, right? That's what this parable is called, the kifsa shel Rash, kifsa harash. Rash means poor. Asher kana vayechayeha. He bought it, he raised it, v'tegdal imo, and grow with him. Ve'im banav, and with his children, yachtav together. U'mipitot ochal, u'mikosos tishte. He was eating, this sheep was eating from his bread, was drinking from his cup. U'bechekot ishad, was sleeping next to him. V'tei lo kebat. Was like a daughter. like a little pet that you really love, you take care of it. Whatever you could do, you do for it. Vayavo helech leish. There was a wayfarer, someone passing by, came to leish ashir, to the rich person. ויחמול לקחת מסונו ומבקרו. He felt bad to take from his own car and from his own sheep and car. לעשות לאורח הבא לו, to make food for the guest that came for him. So just pay attention. First he calls him halach, someone that passing by. Here he calls him guest. ויקח את כבשת האיש הרש. So this poor rich person went and took this keves, the sheep of the poor neighbor. ויעשها לאיש. Now here it calls him ish, right? ויעשها לאיש הבא אליו, and made it to food for the person that came for him. So basically the rich person, he felt bad, he didn't want to kill his own animals to feed the guests. What did he do? He went and he took the only one sheep that this guy had, he took it, slaughtered it, and gave it to his guests. Now, Masechet Sukkah Nun Bet brings this pasuk and says this is talking about Yetzer Hara. How does Yetzer Hara work? First, he's passing by. There's no room for him. It's just coming, passing by. Doesn't belong there, right? Just a little bit. Let's just a little bit. Come with me a little bit, right? If you give in, you go, okay, invite him in a little bit. Becomes what? Oreach. Becomes your guest. Now, he's your guest. You have to take care of him. You take care of him. What happens? Becomes a ish. Becomes the master. He's your master and you are the slave. That's how Yetzer Hara works. Okay, this not to do with our story, it's just on the side. Masechet Sukkah Nun Bet. Go look at it. It's talking about how Yetzer Hara works. The more you give, right, the more it becomes your.
Which Masechet?
Sukkah Nun Bet. Okay, so now he told him that's it, that's the case. How do we judge this case? Nathan coming to David. Right? David doesn't know what he's talking about. David got so angry at this Beish Me'od. Got so angry at this man. How could you do such a thing? You have so many, you could went and took someone else's. ויאמר נתן חי השם כי בן מוות הוא העושה הזאת. And told Nathan, I swear that this guy has to die. Now he's decreeing on his own. Right? Now, first of all, now he has a decree of death on his own. He did it himself. Why? For stealing, the person dies? Usually, no. When you go to court, the judges decide you stole, you pay. If you shechted already, you pay 4 times, which we see David's going to say also. But since David was a king, the king is allowed to kill anybody he wants. Right? He did so bad that if it was up to me, I would kill him. Right? And he has to pay 4 times for what he stole. Okay, now he has to pay, David has to pay 4 times. He doesn't know, he's judging himself. That's our story in Olam Haba. When person goes to Olam Haba, they show him a movie. Oh, look, this guy, look at this, he's cheating people in business, he's doing this. What should we do with him? Right? Whatever you say, oh, that was you. The movie we showed you, it was you.
You made the mistakes.
Right? That's why Chafetz Chaim says, always make yourself a habit to judge people favorably. The kaf zechut. Because this becomes your habit even in Olam Haba. You don't know what's going on, about who you think they show you, right? You don't know it's Yosef, but you, okay. You know, maybe it wasn't feeling good, maybe this, that. Lekaf zechut, okay, then you're off the hook. Make yourself, give yourself a habit to judge people, lekaf zechut. Even though you see the worst thing. You see the guy is driving car on Shabbat, you say, no, could be emergency. Always lekaf zechut. Okay, so Ekev Asher Asa et hadavar, since that David says, since he did such a thing, Davar Hazeh Asher Lo Chamal, and he didn't have mercy. Vayomer Natan el David Ata Haish. Wow, imagine what David is going to go through right now.
Oh boy.
Imagine this moment. David says, that guy is you. You have so many wives. At this point, he had 6 wives. You already have 6 wives. You wanted the guy, someone else's wife? You couldn't wait?
اما خب زنم که الان که خوندیم تو چیز خودش رفته بود 3 دفعه بالا پشت بوم.
That's separate. According to most Mefarshim, they don't believe this. She was covered, she was doing preparation for her mikveh because she was getting tahor. Nothing to do that she wanted him to see. That's
ولی میدونسته زن این بوده. That's the whole thing.
okay. Working now?
So, well, I just thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Rabbi, the Zoom is working now if anyone wants to join.
ما صداتون میفهمیم ما را بس آقای
اوکی خوبه. Perfect.
صدای تو
بله.
مثل صدای مشه ربی ما قبول
نه لحبه
از این نبگیم لاک
نخدم جرم Vayomer Natan, okay, so he said Ata Haish Ko Amar Hashem Elokei Yisrael Anochi Mashchitecha Meshachticha Lemelech Ad Yisrael. Hashem said, Hashem God of Israel said, I made you, anointed you to be king of Israel. Va'anochi Salticha Mi'ad Shaul, and I saved you from the hand of Shaul. Ve'etena lecha et bet Adonecha, I gave the house of your master to you. Right? That Shaul died, you own everything. Ve'et Nashe Adonecha b'chikecha, and the wives of your master in your bosom. Ve'etena lecha
bosom?
בקל, בחיקך, right? ואתנה לך את בית ישראל ויהודה, and I gave you the house of control over Israel and Yehuda. You didn't become just king of Yehuda like that at the beginning. I made you become the king of the whole Eretz Israel and Yehuda. ואם מעט, and if this was not enough for you, ואוסיפה לך כהנה וכהנה, I could have added for you the same and the same. What does that mean? Gemara from here learns that the king is allowed to marry 18 wives. Why? Already you have 6. You could have married 6 more and 6 more. So together 6 times 3 is 13. Kahena. 18, sorry. 6 times 3 is 18. So therefore, that's how we learn that. Yeah, so you already have 6. Kahena ve kahena. 6 plus 6 is 18 wives. A king is allowed to have. Why did you have to go after someone else's wife? מדוע בזית את דבר השם לעשות הרע בעיניי? Why did you degrade the words of Hashem to do evil in my eyes? Et Uriah Hitti hikita b'chereb. You killed Uriah Hitti with sword. Well, did David kill him? Why did you kill him? Right? Radak. כאילו אתה, רדק says hikita b'chereb. You see pasuk tet. כאילו אתה hikito. As if you killed him. כיוון שציווית את יואב לשומו במקום הסכנה. You commanded Yoav to go put him in a dangerous position. So who killed him? You killed him. It was your command. Right? And then it says, ואת אשתו לקחת לך לאישה ואותו הרגת בחרב בני עמון. And you took his wife, right, for your wife, and you killed him with the sword of Bnei Ammon. Now, there's another problem, Radak points that David had. Why did you send him in the hand of Goyim? Like, remember last paragraph we said, you should have done, if he was more of a Malchut, okay, he had to die. We had Sanhedrin. Why you send him Goyim kill him? Right? That's not the right way to kill somebody. Send him to enemy kill him. Radak. He says you did two bad things when you killed the way you killed him. שהרגת בחרב בני עמון, כלומר שהפלתו ביד שונא. You gave him in the hand of the enemy. How could you do such a thing? Giving a Jew in the hand of שונא Israel. You gave him in the hand of שונא Israel. ואף על גב בכל התורה כולה אין שליח לדבר עבירה. In the whole Torah it says that there is no שליח בדבר עבירה. If I tell somebody go steal such and such for me, and if he steals it, who's doing the עבירה? The one who stole it, not the one who told you to listen to me, right? עבד ואדון, למי הוא שומעים? לאדון, not the The master tells you don't steal. The Eved tells you, the human being tells you steal. Who you have to listen to? You have to listen to Hashem. So, אין שליח בדבר עבירה. That's Gemara says. ובכל מקום השולח פטור והשליח חייב. That says in every place, the one who sends it is patur. I told you to go steal. They catch you. Who's chayav? Only the ganav, not the one who send you. Here is different. Here, who is responsible? Only David, not Yoav. Why? שכתוב הרגו ואותו הרגת. The pasuk says you killed him. Why? It brings also Shaul with that ear no, because when the king says something to do, you have to listen. Order of the king tells you to kill somebody, has to kill. So therefore, the king is responsible. Yes. Bata lo tasur khereb mibetecha. No, the sword is not going to leave your house. Ad olam, until forever. Eke vasher bazita. Ekev parasha enough this way. Ekev means since. Ekev tishmeun. Since you degraded Vetikach ed eshed Uriah, and you took the wife of Uriah. You see, keeps calling her wife of Uriah because still you didn't wait. What was your rush? Uriah chiti liot lachal Aisha, to take him for wife. Ko amar Hashem ineni mekim alecha ra'a mibetecha. So here says Hashem said, I'm going to bring evil from your own house. Right? That's referring to Avshalom. That you from your own house is going to come and attack you. And then by the end, when David heard that was Avshalom, right? I think it's a Mizmor that David that is talking about Avshalom. It says it with the happiness. Why is it happy that was Avshalom? He said, if it was Eved, he wouldn't have any mercy on me. Now that I know it's my own son, at least I'm happier. Right? Found that. ולקחתי את נשיך.
Rabbi Moshe.
We're going to get to it. Avshalom is going to go against his own father. Right? And then in the Tehillim, when he brings this story, brings it with happiness. David means more than David or something, right? Masculine. David is happy about it. So Mefarshim asks, why is he happy? Right? Oh, he was happy that wasn't Eved, was his own son. Eved doesn't have Rachmanut. Okay. So he says, from your own house, evil is going to come to you. Velakachti et nashecha le'enecha, and will take your wives in front of your eyes. We'll see Absalom will take David's wives at one point, even though David was still around. When David was running away, Absalom goes and takes some of his wives, not his main wives. Okay, and he say, he takes your wife, "V'natati lera'acha," and I'm going to give it to your fellow man, which is the one who is against you. Here, that Hashem doesn't tell him who, because it cannot tell him, Absalom is going to do this. He still have bechira chofshi. If he chose not to do this, someone else would do it. But someone would do it. That was a gezerah on David that is going to happen. V'shachabim neshecha le'enei hashemesh hazot, and he's going to sleep with your wives in front of the sun. This sun, that means in broad daylight, in front of publicly, right? Ki ata asita beseter, you did this hidingly while you were hiding. ואני אעשה את הדבר הזה נגד כל ישראל ונגד השמש. But I will do this publicly, completely in front of everybody, broadcasted to everybody, right? To whole Israel, and broad daylight.
Yeah.
Right? So what now we see what David say became decree upon himself. He said, right, Ben Mavetu, now the decree was that he's going to die, and he said 4 times he has to pay. There was a decree that 4 of his children are going to die. First one is the baby, is going to be Amnon with Tamar and Absalom. 4 of his,
Amnon, Tamar,
those are the 4 that he said he has to pay 4 times. He himself decreed upon himself.
Amnon, what were the kids' names?
The baby, which had no name, they were just born, we're going to see soon. Amnon, Tamar, and Absalom.
Because he took his Moshe's husband's. Because it took him.
Yeah, because it took Uriah.
خودش گفت 4 times has to pay back for the lamb that he
He thought he's judging the guy who stole a sheep. When you steal a sheep and shecht it, you have to pay 4 times. And he said he has to pay 4 times. As Danish don't be so harsh
read کروتال از
judging
فتایم.
people.
read کروتال از فتایم. هر چی آدم میگه بهش برمیگرد.
Don't be so harsh in judging people. That's it. Now, after all these bad news that he gave him, now imagine what David is going to do. Look what David's reaction is. And like Shaul, David says what? Vayomer David el Natan, Chatati LaHashem. That's all he says. Chatati LaHashem. I see. Admit, David is from Yehuda. He learned it from
Tamar and
his great grandfather Yehuda. Right? Yehuda said, Sadka Mimeni. He admitted publicly. David also said, Chatati LaHashem. If you look at the book, there's a space here. Why now we put the space? Because he wanted to say more, he couldn't. Again, he couldn't talk anymore. That's all he said. Chatati LaHashem. He wanted to say more. He was like so upset that he couldn't say anymore. So what does this teshuvah do to him? Saves his life.
Save his life.
It was a decree that he's going to die, but now ויאמר נתן אל דוד גם יהיה. sorry. גם השם העביר חטאתך ולא תמות. Right? Nathan told David, Hashem removed your sin from you and you're not going to die. Okay, one of the decrees was off. The rest of it now. Radak, lo tamut. Afar bishata chayav mitah. Right? Sin, even though you were chayav mitah, there was decree upon you to kill, to die. Ha'el kibel hitvadetecha. Hashem accepted your vidui, v'teshuvatecha, and your teshuvah. V'lo tamudata. You're not going to die. Okay, that part, that decrees off. Right? כלומר, לא תמות מיתת רשעים. Whatever it means, like, you're going to die like David died nicely in his bed. That's what it is. Not, you're not going to go die because of this. Okay? Efes. However, כי ניאסת את אויבי Hashem, since you blaspheme, it doesn't want to say Hashem, it says אויבי Hashem, right? We see here someone who does an act of sin,
He's cursing Hashem.
is like chas v'shalom, cursing enemies of Hashem, right? You don't want to say it, it says enemies of Hashem. But דבר הזה, since you did such a big mistake, גם הבן היולד לך מות יומת. The son that was born from this, for you, is going to die. That baby. Bathsheba's baby. וילך נתן אל ביתו. Yes. Yes.
השם ימרא.
From the first relationship. Okay. וילך נתן אל ביתו. And Natan said this and left. He went to his own house. Left David alone. ויגוף השם את הילד אשר ילדה אשת אוריה לדוד. Hashem smite the baby, that wife of Uriah. You see, still calls it wife of Uriah because it's still the get was not 100% when he was with him. So the wife of Uriah gave birth to David, and became deadly sick. ויבקש דוד את האלוהים בעד הנער. David was begging Hashem because of this child, even though Nathan already told him he's going to die. What are you asking? Right? But David knew that even though there is a decree, you could take it off. So until the last moment, you don't give up. Right? We see this from later on when Chizkiah gets sick and Yeshayahu goes to visit him. He tells him, you're going to die from this sickness. Chizkiah said, take your nebuah and get out. I have tradition from my great grandfather, which is referring to David. Even if the sword is by your neck, you don't stop davening. You pray for it. And what happened? Hashem accepted Chizkiah's prayer. They give him 15 extra years. And he ended up marrying Yeshayahu's daughter. By then. Okay. زن نداشت. That's why he was going to die. That's why Hashem wanted to kill him. Okay. We're going to, Bezat Hashem in Sefer Melachim, we're going to get to that also. Vayatzom David fasted. He went to Tanit. Som Uba Belam Veshachav Alsa. He fasted the fast and he went and lay down on the ground. He didn't want to sleep on his bed anymore. Lie down on the ground. Just like a mourner. Vayakumu Ziknei Beto Alav Lahakimu, and the elders of his house got upon him to pick him up, min ha'aretz, from the floor, Velo ava, he didn't accept. Velo bara itam lechem, and he did not eat bread with them. Didn't eat. He was fasting. Who knows for how many days? Vayhi b'yom hashvi'i, and it was on the 7th day. The baby was only 7 days old. Vayamot hayeled, and the baby died. Vayir'u avdei David, and the slaves of David, they got scared. La'agidlo, to tell him. They were scared to tell him. If before that he was doing such a thing, imagine if you tell him that, what he's going to do to himself. Right? La'agidlo kimed, that they were scared to tell him that the baby died. Ki amru hine biyoto hayeled chay dibarnu elav velo shama. When the baby was alive, we tell him, get up. Don't make yourself suffer so much. He didn't listen. Velo shama bekolenu. Ve'ech nomar elav met hayeled. How are we going to tell him the baby died? They were so scared to tell him. V'asara, he's going to do something bad to himself. He's going to hurt himself. Vayar David ki avadav mitlachashim. David saw that they are whispering. Pech mekonan, right? They're always
خودشون میپیچن به قول معروف.
they're whispering together. What is going on? Vayeven David ki medayeled. So David understood from this that the baby died. Vayomer David et avadav hamet hayeled. So he told David, asked them, did the child die? Vayomru met. They told him, yes, he died. Vayakam David me'aretz. David got up from the floor, and like what they thought he's going to do, he did the opposite. Now that it's over, it's over. He got up, vayirchas, and he washed himself. So they're asking if his child that died, how is he washing himself? Because before 30 days, it's still called nefel, so it doesn't count. Avelut doesn't. You don't have to sit avelut. So vayirchas, vayasach, and smeared upon himself. Vayalaf, simlotav, and he changed his clothing. Vayavo bet Hashem veishtachavu. He came to house of Hashem. He went to the Mishkan and bowed down. Vayavo el beto veishal, and he came back to his house and he asked them. Vayasumu lechem. They asked them for food. They put food. Vayochal, and he ate. Right? No more fasting. That's it. No more mourning. So now that his workers are shocked. What's going on? Vayom rabadav elav. His slaves told him, what is this that you're doing? When the child was alive, you were fasting and you're crying. And now that he died, you're getting up and eating? What's going on? The opposite. Vayomer be'od hayeled chai samti ve'evke ki amarti mi yodea v'chaneni Hashem v'chai hayeled. As long as the child was still alive, I fasted and I was crying because I said, who knows, maybe Hashem will have mercy and the child will live. V'ata met. And now that he died, Lamazeh and Nisam, why should I fast anymore? Ha'ochal ha'shibuot, can I bring him back? It's gone. What is my fast going to do? Ani holech elav, vehu lo yashuv elai. I'm going to go to him, and he's not going to go to me. This is the way of every man. By the end, we all go to Olam Haba, but he's not going to come back. Vayinachem David et Bathsheba ishto. So David also gave nechama to Bathsheba, his wife. Vayavo aleha, and he went with her. Vayishka b'ma, slept with her. Vateled ben, they had a child. according to the Divrei Yamim, they had already like 3, this was the 4th child. They had a few more children before this. Okay? From her.
From her.
ותלת בן ותקרא את שמו שלמה. Right? Even though it says ויקרא, we'll read it ותקרא. She called him Shlomo. והשם אהבו, and Hashem loved this child. That's the famous Shlomo that Hashem loved so much. וישלח ביד נתן הנביא, Hashem sent a message in the hand of Natan הנביא, ויקרא את שמו ידידיה, and he called him Yedidia. Right? Yedidia is beloved of Hashem.
So Natan became Yedidia?
No, Shlomo. That's Shlomo's real name is Yedidia. Hashem called him Yedidia.
Wow.
Right?
You know what's interesting over
That
here?
means-
It says that
Your cousin is Yedidia.
yeah. Now it says
Yes.
اینجا نوشته بچه his wife. حالا شد.
Yeah.
Now it changed.
Now they call him Bathsheba, wife of David. Yes. That's right, Ishto. What happened? Now everything
Back to normal.
back to normal. Okay? Except he's going to have all the other problems coming to him later. But from Bathsheba, now it's 100%. Now she's 100% that the get took effect.
چرا اسم بچه‌های دیگه شو نبرد؟
In Divrei Yamim tells you. Right? The get took effect. Bathsheba became his official wife. And everything is kosher. Right? There was no problem of Eshedish here. The only thing was he went a little bit too fast. Okay, so why did Hashem send him this message, called him Yedidiah? Ba'avur Hashem, because of Hashem. That means Hashem loved him so much that he's going to be beloved of Hashem. Okay, now back to the war. Yoav, if you remember, Yoav was still in war with Bnei Ammon, and it's still there. Apparently, this was a very long war. Yoav, Rabbat Bnei Ammon, and Yoav was fighting with Bnei Ammon. Vayilkot et Ir HaMelucha. By the end, he was able to capture the royal town, right? Which is later on is going to call it Ir HaMayim. It's the same town. Vaishlach, that was their stronghold was that town. Right? All the palace was there and everything, all the stronghold was there. So by the end he was able to capture it. Vaishlach Yoav Malachim El David, look how much Yoav respected David, even though when Yoav made a mistake, David cursed him, but he gives all the respect to David. What is he doing? He's giving the respect of the war to David. Instead of saying, I did it, come and finish it. Right? Vaishlach Yoav Malachim El David. That's why we see David couldn't touch him. He didn't do anything to him until he died for his mistakes. Even though Yoav made mistakes, David didn't want to kill him. So he sent messengers to David. Vayomer nilchamti berabah Gam lachati et irham ha'mayim. That's the same town that we talked about, royal town. He said, I fought with Rabbi and I was able to capture the town of Maim, the royal town. Va'ata esof et yeter ha'am, and now you could come and join the rest of the nation. V'chaneh ala'ir, and go on the town, and capture it. Pen el kod ani, so I won't capture it. If I capture it, they're going to call it what? By my name. They're going to say, oh, you have won the war. I don't want that. I want you to win the war. Right? So go besiege it and you capture it. Now already, basically their army is gone, weak, everything is the fast straw you break, basically. He's sending David. ויאסוף דוד אל כל העם וילך רבתה וילחם בה וילכדה. So David did the last easy job. He went, gathered with the nation, fought with Rabat, and he went to Rabat and fought with it and captured it. ויקח את עטרת מלכם, and he took the crown of their king. This was a very, very special crown. You will see it was very heavy and had a very big jewel on it. Very special crown that stayed in David's kingdom for many generations. So he took this crown of their king, Me'al Rosho, from his head, Umishkala Kikar Zahav, and the weight was Kikar of Zahav, was very heavy, and not a normal person wouldn't be able to put it on his head. Ve'even Yakara, and it had a very special jewel on it, big special jewel. Vatei Rosh David, and they put it on the head of David. There's the Midrash says that this special crown, that whoever deserved it, that to become a king from the David dynasty, this would fit his head. Otherwise, it wouldn't fit his head. If he wasn't fit to be a king, no matter what he did, he wouldn't.
Do you know what kind of stone it was?
Probably diamond, pink diamond, or blue diamond. I don't know. Okay.
Vivid pink.
ושלל העיר הוציא הרבה מאוד, and he took the booty of the town, he took them out a lot of booties, a lot of gold, silver, everything he took from them. ואת העם אשר בה הוציא, and he took out all the nations that was in that town, all the people. וישם במגרה, and he punished them with a saw, ובחרסי ברזל, and with the iron threshing board, ובמגזורות הברזל, with the iron axe. Basically, it gave them very harsh punishments. והעביר אותם במלבן, and he passed them through muddy streets. וכן יעשה לכל ערי בני עמון, and he did the same thing to all the towns of בני עמון. He did something to them that they never get back their dignity to go back fight Israel. That's it. All done. וישב דוד וכל העם ירושלים, and David and all his nation, they went back to Yerushalayim, and that's the end of this chapter.
Zach Baruch.
Okay.